Hello friends, today we'll be talking about rainfall in Pakistan and the different sources of rainfall in Pakistan. Rain is one of the blessings of God, a reflection of nature's beauty. Every drop has its own tale to tell, isn't it? The sources of rainfall in Pakistan. It's the monsoon winds, western depressions, convectional currents, relief rainfall, and tropical cyclones. We'll be looking at each one separately. Discuss the monsoon winds. There are two types of the monsoon winds, the summer winds, which are called as the southwest monsoons, and the winter winds, which are called as the northeast monsoons. Now the southwest monsoons or the summer monsoons are giant sea breezes that blow from the sea towards the land. Now we'll look at it, why do they blow from the sea to the land, in a minute. During the summer season, the land gets heated up, and when the land gets heated up, the air over the land also becomes hot. It becomes hot and light, and it starts to rise up. A low pressure area is created over the land. Now this low pressure area will start to attract the cool winds that are over the oceans and the sea bodies towards itself. Now why are there cool winds over the oceans? We have already looked at it earlier, that the sea bodies, they absorb the sun's rays and radiate the sun's rays at a slower pace when compared to the land. So the air over the sea would comparatively be less hotter during the summers. Because it's less hot on the sea bodies or the oceans, so the pressure there would be higher. As we discussed it earlier, pressure and temperature are always inversely proportional. If the temperature increases, the pressure drops down, and if the temperature is low, the pressure increases. And always remember this fact, that winds always blow from a high pressure area towards the low pressure area. So during the summers, where will the pressure be higher? And the pressure is higher over the sea bodies, so the winds will blow from the seas towards the land. I hope you have understood this. And when they blow from the sea towards the land, because they are blowing from the sea, so they are full of moisture, that those winds are full of moisture. They have sucked up the moisture from the sea, and now they'll come towards the land and bring heavy amount of rainfall. So this is all about southwest monsoons. Now looking at this map, the main system of the southwest monsoons, it develops here in the Bay of Bengal, which is situated towards the eastern side of Pakistan. Now why are they called as southwest monsoons? Because they are blowing from the south towards the west. That's why they are called as the southwest monsoons. I hope this is clear here. Now moving on to the northeast monsoons. Now they blow from the land to the sea, unlike the southwest monsoons, and they blow during the winters. Now what is happening during the winter season? The land is less hot, and because it has a tendency of absorbing and radiating the sun's rays at a faster pace compared to the sea, so it loses off all of its heat and becomes cool quickly. So the pressure over the land would be high. Okay, now it's cool, the temperature has dropped down, so the pressure will be high. And we already saw this, that the winds always blow from a high pressure area towards the low pressure area. So the winds will now start to blow from the land towards the sea. The sea is a low pressure area. Why? Because again, the sea is a slow mo, it radiates the absorbed heat of the sun slowly, so it's less cooler compared to the land. So there the pressure will be low. So the winds will blow from the land towards the sea. And since they are blowing from a dry area, so they will not bring much amount of rainfall. Now looking at these two maps, this is the map of the summer monsoons, where you see the winds, the direction of the winds. The winds are blowing from the sea towards the land, from the sea towards the land. And if you look at the winter monsoons, here the winds are blowing from the land towards the sea. All right. Now let's discuss the western depressions. What are the western depressions? They are actually cyclones that originate from the Mediterranean Sea, and they bring rain from from December to March, mostly the winter seasons. Now they travel across Afghanistan and Iran and reach the western parts of Pakistan first, and they bring most of the rain, to the northwestern parts of Pakistan like Peshawar. As they move towards the south, they are robbed of the moisture because they have already given a lot of rain in the north, and they bring less rain to the southwestern parts of Pakistan. Quetta also gets a lot of winter rains from the western depressions. So if a question like that is asked in the exams, or if you get a graph where it's shown that Quetta is receiving a lot of rain during the winter seasons or the winter months, and the question is asked that what is the source of this rainfall in Quetta, so you should know it is the western depressions. Now, looking at this map, this is the Mediterranean Sea. It sits just above Libya and Egypt, above the African continent. This is the African continent. So here a high pressure area develops, and when the high pressure area develops, so wind will move towards the from the high pressure area towards the low pressure area, that is the land. So they will move upwards, blow towards the eastern parts, travel across Iran, Afghanistan, reach Pakistan, and bring rainfall first in the western parts of Pakistan. A lot of rain in the northwestern parts of Pakistan, and slowly the intensity, the amount of the rainfall decreases as the winds move towards the southern parts of Pakistan. But the convectional currents, they take place in early summers. Okay, you have to keep in mind early summers, that is before the onset of the monsoon system. Hot air, the land is getting heated up because the sun is shining brightly. It's the summer seasons, so the land air is getting heated up, and the air over the land also becomes hot. This air contains a lot of moisture. When this air rises up, it condenses to form clouds, and these clouds then bring down rain as thunderstorms. And this source of rainfall occurs only in the north and the northwestern parts of Pakistan like Rawalpindi, Peshawar. The southern parts of Pakistan do not receive rain from these currents. You have got to keep that in mind. And why is that so? Because of the temperature inversion layer. Now what is this temperature inversion layer? We'll look at it in a while. Now looking at this diagram, this is what happens during the convectional currents. The land gets heated up, the air rises up, hot air rises up, it condenses to form clouds, and these clouds then bring rain in the form of thunderstorms in Rawalpindi and Peshawar. You got to keep that in mind as well. Now moving on to this diagram, this is about the temperature inversion layer. In the southern parts of Pakistan, why is this system not active? Because the land is obviously getting heated up, but the hot air is also rising up, and it's not being allowed to condense and form clouds. Why is it not being allowed to condense and form clouds here? Because of the crisscrossing winds that are coming from this direction and also from this direction. These winds prevent the air that had risen up from condensing and forming clouds. That is why the convectional currents cannot cause rain in the southern parts of Pakistan, and the southern parts of Pakistan receive rain from the monsoons alone. I hope it's clear. Now relief rainfall, very easy to understand. What is relief rainfall? Now moist unstable air starts to move up a mountain, and when it moves up a mountain it gets cooled, and as it cools down, condensation takes place, that is the formation of clouds, and these clouds then give down rain. Precipitation means rainfall on the windward side of the mountain, meaning that part of the mountain over which the air had moved up, not the other side of the mountain. I'll show you in a while. Now leeward side of the mountain, that is the other side of the mountain, that remains dry. Why? Because the moisture laden winds, they were robbed of all the moisture that they had brought with them when they moved upwards. They brought rain to one side of the mountain, but when they moved towards the other side of the mountain they were dry, so they could not give rain to that area, and that area is called as rain shadow area. I hope you remember we discussed Gilgit and Chitral. Why is it that these two areas do not receive rainfall, relief rainfall? That's because they are on the rain shadow areas. They lie in the rain shadow area. The north and the northwestern parts of Pakistan, they receive relief rainfall. Now, Murray and Kakul, they are such blessed areas that they receive rain in all the seasons, and they receive rain from all the sources because of their high altitude. Like they receive rain from the monsoons, from the relief rain, from the western depressions, and the convectional rains. So they receive rainfall from all these sources that we discussed earlier. Now, this is relief rainfall. See, moisture laden winds, they are blowing upwards from this side of the mountain. So, this side of the mountain, which comes in contact with the moisture laden winds first, is called as the windward side of the mountain, meaning this is the area that the wind is blowing towards. Okay, and so it gives the wind blows upwards, condenses, cools down, forms clouds, and gives a lot of rain on this side of the mountain, the windward side of the mountain. But when it moves towards the other side, it becomes dry, all of its moisture is lost, and here very little or no rain occurs. So this area is called as the leeward side of the mountain, or the rain shadow area. Now, tropical cyclones. Tropical cyclones, they cause few rain for a few hours, and that too very heavy rain. And these tropical cyclones are very destructive. They originate over the Arabian Sea, but they rarely reach the coast. Meaning, very rarely does it happen that these tropical cyclones, they strike the coast of our Pakistan and bring rain once every few years, and it's not a very reliable source of rainfall. Now you see, this is what happens during tropical cyclones. So the tropical cyclones, they develop where in the oceans, and then they come and hit the borders of the coast of Pakistan. You must have heard, the names like Nilofer, etc. Now, sources of rainfall in different climatic zones. In the highland zone, this is very important if you learn it properly. So you'd be able to answer questions like why is a place, for example, Rawalpindi or Islamabad, receiving rain, from or what are the sources of rainfall in Rawalpindi and Islamabad. So you have to first keep that place in mind, then think as to where is that place located, in which climatic zone. If it's in the highland zone, then it will be receiving rain from all these sources. If it's in the lowland zone, for example, if something about a Punjab is asked, then you will have to write about these sources. And if it's situated somewhere in the south or in the coastal zone, if Karachi is asked, then you will have to look at okay, the Karachi, so it must be in the coastal zone. If it's in the coastal zone, what are the sources of rainfall in the coastal zone? You'll have to write it accordingly. Okay, now let's discuss highland zone. Because it's the highland zone, so it's receiving relief rainfall. It's also receiving monsoon rains from thunderstorms, and also from the western depressions. It's just a summary of what we discussed earlier today. Now, the lowland zone. The lowland zone receives convectional rainfall in northern Punjab, western depressions in northern Punjab, and also monsoon rain. On the coastal zone receives rainfall from the monsoons. The Sindh coast receives rainfall from the monsoons, and the Makran coast receives rain from western depressions. And both of these areas, that is the entire coast, can receive rainfall from the tropical cyclones as well. In the arid zone, that is the desert areas, they receive less rainfall from the monsoon winds and the western depressions. They might receive rainfall from the monsoons and the western depressions, but the quantity will always be low. Okay, now let's quickly discuss the pressure and winds as well, because they are also the climatic factors. We've already discussed the first two, and pressure and winds remain. So let's discuss them as well. Now, whenever there is a high temperature, we have already looked at it, that the pressure will be low. So there's low pressure there. This low pressure will attract winds from the sea, and when it's attracting winds from the sea, what happens, what occurs? Southwest monsoons, and it brings a lot of rain, and this happens during the summer seasons. Now, when the temperature is low, the pressure will be high, and the winds will start to blow from the land towards the sea. And such winds are northeast monsoons, and they bring no significant rainfall, and this occurs in the winter season. So I hope all the climatic elements are clear to all of you. And if you found this video helpful, so please do subscribe to my channel, and also comment if you have any questions in your mind, and press the like button. Thank you so much for watching.